Frequency, Episode 4, Bleed Over. Really love this episode. I think one of the strengths of the show is, as I mentioned, probably in the second, first to second episode, is really the emotion that we have between the two, time periods. Because we have Frank, where he's in the past, and it's like, all right, I know what's gonna happen at some point in the future because I'm talking to my daughter in the future. But he still has to deal with his daughter now. He has to teach her little stuff, like whittling and simple things like that. But he also has to deal with the fact that he's estranged from his wife right now, who is also going to be killed by the Nightingale killer. So he's flipping out about that, which they had a great little tie-in between the time periods where Raimy, when she was talking to the girl, she's like, hey, don't tell anyone about the scar or anything like that, because once that person knows, that's that'll be really bad. Like that, they can't have that information. And I thought it was cool how that kind of played into it, because the guy realized, like, oh crap, this dude knows my truck, and he torched his truck at the end of the episode. It was like, oh, that was a cool little tie-in. Like, he didn't, obviously it wasn't news based, but he's like, oh, I now know what he knows, so that gives me the advantage now because I can switch that up. I don't have to worry about it anymore. So I thought that was actually pretty cool. I was like, hey, that was a cool, really simple way to just tie it in with something Raimy said. But the emotion in this one I thought was really well done, and it wasn't just, especially this episode, it definitely wasn't just Frank. It was that other father. I wish I could remember his name, but I really loved his stuff in both the past and present. I was like, this is, that was probably my favorite thing about the whole episode, was his emotional state, where he deals with, in both the past and the present, what could have possibly happened to his family, or what did happen to his family, losing his wife, and then what could have possibly happened, in the present, with his daughter. So it was really cool watching that guy, and just the way things were working out, where it's like Frank's getting closer and closer to the truth, and he's trying to make it work, and he really does genuinely feel bad for this guy. Like, he lost his wife, and he knows that he's trying to stop that from happening to his own daughter, so he really wants to help this guy out. But he does have to get closer to the case. And like the scene when he's at the school, I was like, I know this is gonna go wrong. And of course, the dad comes in and he flips out on him, and he takes his daughter away. But it was just good. I was like, man, I really enjoy this. I like the way they showed it, and then in the present where he's going through it, especially during that first meeting with Raimy. He has to go through it all over again. He's like, I can't handle this a second time. So I really love that guy. I thought the actor did a really great job, where he's like, he wants to just be there for his daughter, but that junk tears you down, especially, in the present tense, where it's his daughter that's gone missing, and he doesn't have, like, he has a new wife, but it's still him going through that, disappearing sort of thing twice, even though his current wife mentions, like, she's had this happen, or she's done this before, so we've dealt with it a couple of times. But I guess it was a little different with Raimy showing up, like, this could be related to the whole Nightingale thing. But I loved it. I thought it was really well done. Like I said, the emotion of this episode, I think, was really, like, the main point of it, and I thought that was really well done. Lots of good comedy in there, too. I think the guy's name is Gordo, the neighbor. He had a funny scene when he came in drunk and stuff, and Raimy was kind of freaking out because he's just talking over the radio. But that was a nice little funny scene, and she's kind of moving on with her life, her current timeline life, I guess. Who knows what's going to happen? Like, if she saves her mom, is it going to go back to where she's not with the new guy? So it's just kind of funny, because I'm like, man, she's living in this really weird middle ground where she's like, I want to be with my former fiance, or soon to be fiance, but she meets this guy that she had a fling with, who of course she doesn't remember whatsoever, and she decides by the end of the episode, I'm going to kind of move on. I'm going to live this current life. Like, even though I know that we can fix it, like, it's not 100%, but, like, I know we can fix it, but at this point, I'm going to move on. I'm going to try to see what happens and be with someone else, which is really dangerous emotionally. That could really F you up if she does end up, falling for this guy for real. And then she alters it again, and it's like, crap, it went back. And it's like, it probably wouldn't have been nearly as much time if she does end up, if they stop the Nightingale killer. But, I mean, I know what she's trying to do, but I was also thinking ahead, like, man, if she fixes it, the whole thing about her being with the former boyfriend was the fact that her mom was alive. So if she is alive, it'll change all that stuff up, and it'll change right around her, which we've seen happen, a bunch of different times. So I don't know how that's gonna work out. I don't know if she's gonna make it as a fling, but rarely am I curious about relationship stuff. But considering basically the whole mission is to save her mom, which would completely erase this guy from, her life, it makes me curious about it. Like, how is this gonna work? Does that mean they aren't gonna save her mom? Does it mean that somehow it won't be exactly the same? So she had the choice or something like that. It's very confusing because it's time based, so it won't. I'm assuming it won't be 100% the same, but I'm very curious. I'm actually pretty curious how this relationship thing is supposed to work out, knowing that the main point of the series right now is gonna, if they succeed at least, is gonna erase this guy in their whole little fling that they even had to begin with. So it actually has me kind of curious, but enjoyed the episode, them going through um, this case on both sides of the fence, just like they did before. This one I thought was a bit more interesting because they were looking into, technically it was just like, in the last episode where they were looking at the same person, but in this case it was like, was she taken by the current Nightingale killer sort of thing, because the person is technically still alive. And then in the past it's like, all right, I'm trying to stop this junk right now, and Raimy is kind of trying to, deal with it, post-mortem, I guess is the best way I can think to describe it. And so it's just kind of interesting watching them go through it. And it's like, all right, she was kidnapped by the Nightingale killer. They do get a really great step where they get the description from Raimy in the, he records it, and so they get that with the hoodie. And then they also get it because she actually talks with, I believe her name was Eva, in the present. And so she's able to kind of help her dad in that way, which ultimately works out because I guess the father just was like, all right, if this really happened, then it's a way to stop it, to possibly save other people. So the girl does actually come in and gives them a description of the guy without the hoodie on. So it was really cool. It's like, all right, they made an actual huge step. They technically did in the last one too. They stopped a totally different murderer, but this was cool. I was like, all right, this is interesting. They got a really big step. They lost the car though, so now they're just looking for a random person. He's not tied to the vehicle anymore. But I'm excited to see where it goes. I love what they did with the daughter because they had this mystery going, and then it turns out that it was totally fake. In the present tense, it's just like she wanted the attention because she just didn't have the attention, so she fakes it and all this other stuff. And I was like, holy crap, I can't believe that happened. Because I was confused when, she goes on the news and Raimi's like, what the F is she doing? Like, what in the world is going on right now? So, it was interesting. And, of course it comes back, and I still don't know his name, so I still just call him a Guy Pfeiffer. But he's mad too. It's like, why the F is she on the news? Like why is she giving out this information? And so we find out it's all fake. And they do a great nod to that at the end of the episode when they're leaving after she gives the second sketch. And it's like, there might be a couple reporters left. If you want, we can have you guys escorted out. And they have the little girl say like, no, I don't mind. And Frank was there and he kind of looks at it and I thought, like, that was a funny little thing after Remy told him, like, the entire story. I thought that was actually pretty cool. So I enjoyed that. The one thing that really confused me though about this episode were the actual actresses that they had play Eva, because maybe I'm crazy, but I swear the young girl looked Asian to me, and the adult woman that they had play the same character did not look Asian at all. Like it could easily be like, oh, she was a half Asian character, but the young girl looked completely Asian to me. And maybe it's because I've seen the actress, so I don't know. Maybe it was like she was in the Vampire Diaries, the older actress. She was in something very recent. It may have been the Vampire Diaries actually, but I'm like, I know this woman, and even if I didn't, I could clearly see like she does not look Asian like that young girl. Maybe I was subconsciously racist when I was watching this. I can't tell, but I would love to know what you guys thought about that, because I'm like, this girl seriously looks Asian to me. And then the adult woman, maybe she is half Asian, like the actual old adult actress is like half Asian, I don't know. I have no freaking idea. But she still didn't look like the young girl. I'm like, they had like different skin tones and stuff like that. And I was like, this is really weird to me. Like, the young girl seemed like she was like Asian, and then the older woman did not. And I'm like, that just doesn't fit. Like I said, maybe I was just being like racist a little bit. I don't know. But when I was watching it, I was like, this doesn't make sense to me. Because when she first showed up as an adult, I was like, maybe I didn't see the young girl right. That was the first thing I thought, was like, maybe I didn't see the young girl right. Because when she first showed up, I was like, she looked Asian to me. I don't know. But then the adult actress showed up, and I was like, I don't, it doesn't seem to fit with the young girl. Like, it was just interesting. I was like, they don't look, like, obviously different people aren't going to look exactly the same, but they didn't look like they were even the same race, and I thought that was a little weird. I was like, I don't know if this is right or if something's wrong with my eyes right now. But that's what I noticed. I had to put that out there because it really bugged me. And like I said, maybe I was just going crazy watching the episode, but I'm like, that can't, like, I don't know. Maybe, like I said, maybe the adult actress is flat out half Asian, but like I said, I felt like they literally had like two different skin tones. So even that in itself, like, I don't what she just had a tan and it works. But I was like, this just doesn't look right. It looks really weird because this young girl seems Asian, and the adult woman did not in any way, shape, or form. So I don't know. I don't know. It was really weird when I was watching. I was like, it just doesn't. It didn't fit to me, and like I said, maybe it's just me. I don't know, but yeah, I just had to talk about that because it was like the one thing I kept looking at the whole episode. Like, just doesn't fit. Like, these two actresses do not come together to be the same person at a young age and as an adult. Like, it just doesn't work to me. But that's just me. Thought they were totally different races. Could be wrong. Just could be an issue with me during this episode, like I said. But still enjoyed it. That was just the one thing I noticed that was really bugging me. Rest of the episode, excuse me, really loved. Thought it was really well done. Um, Curious what's going to happen. You know, and I mentioned in my last review that this series, with it being the first season, is probably going to have a shortened season. It might only come out to be like, 12 episodes or something like that. 12, maybe 18, maybe somewhere close to 20, but not like the normal, like the established shows where it's like, oh, this will be like 22 and 24 episodes. This might be under 20, episodes for its first season. So I don't know how much further they're going to go with it. I don't want to know. Honestly, I kind of hate knowing when I'm about to get to the last episode. I kind of just want things to ramp up as they are and then be surprised when it's getting to the end. So I don't know how many episodes we're supposed to get this season, but I am really curious. Like, this guy, he's taking his steps. He's been tracking his victim with, the mother. And so Frank now has him where he torched his car. So now we just have this sketch, and he's always wearing the hoodie, for the most part at least. So there's a lot going on there. But I'm certainly excited for it. Of course, definitely want to know what you guys thought about this episode. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And with the Nightingale kind of getting rid of his, like, big identifying thing with the truck, how do you guys think they're going to catch this guy? If it's going to be the next episode, or if it's not, I want to know how you ultimately think the Nightingale thing is going to end, or if it won't end at all. I think personally they will end up saving her mom, and then there's going to be some other big thing. But I want to know your thoughts on it. If they won't save him, want to hear that. If you think or if they won't stop him, I want to know your thoughts on that. If they will, how will they do it? And of course, I want to know what you thought about this episode in general. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.